Welcome back to the channel, everyone. In today's video we'll be taking a look around my tropical garden in the UK in March. Let's get straight into it. Well, we've got some decent weather on the way. Of course, I think most people know it's been one of the worst winters for a number of years for UK gardeners, especially those of us who are trying to grow tropical and tender plants in the gardens. I have started a lot of jobs cutting things back, like cutting the Niphophia back, cutting a few ferns back, but unfortunately our local authority doesn't start garden bin collections for a while, so there's still a lot of mess in the garden. Let's have a little walk around. We've got the begonias beginnias, I always forget, elephant ears, cordifolia, I think, starting to flower. One of the first things to flower in the garden. It's looking well. Still need to cut back all of the ferns. One of my gunneras got frosted back. You can see. Let me zoom out a little bit. This is my Gunnera tinctoria in a barrel. I mean, it's looking absolutely fine. The protection is rotting away, but you can see it started to grow, threw out a few leaves, and then they got frosted off. But of course it'll come back, no problem for that. I'm just going to leave that on for now. You can tell usually it's my third year growing Gunnera, and when the leaves that we use as winter protection start lifting up, you know it's looking good. But again, we're in the middle of March and we can get frosts all the way through April, so I'm not going to risk anything. My Cordyline australis has done fine. I did a video on this a while back on how to protect it. There's no spear pull. I'm very pleased with that. That's my biggest cordyline in the garden, and it's pulled through. My huge eucalyptus trees. Let me go back a little bit. You can see I've got 3 eucalyptus trees. These were all planted I think 2 or 3 years ago as tiny plants. I mean, for context, this one, I mean, it's 20, 30 foot high, maybe. Maybe 3 years ago, this fit in the car. These 2 were tiny plants in 3-litre pots. And I am going to pollard these in the next few weeks when I can get a ladder tall enough. Just take the top growing points off. And the whole point of these trees, and again, I would recommend going for eucalyptus if you want to create a little bit of height in the short term, but of course they get huge. The whole point of them was to give us a little bit of privacy from neighbours. We have got overlooking neighbours around, and we've got a high school over there that we try to block out. So if I don't top them, pollard them now, they're going to be too big, and then of course the foliage is going to be too high to have any effect. So hopefully by cutting them back, it'll produce more growth further down. So they're the eucalyptus. Looking at the Gunnera, yeah, onto the Gunnera. This is my biggest Gunnera. Again, it's a tinctoria, but you can see it's ready to go. It's throwing out the leaves. Everything's fine. Plenty of potential for growth in there. A few of the early leaves have been frosted off, but I'm not too worried. And again, I'm not going to uncover those. I'm going to leave them, and they will start. You can see already they're sending out a lot of leaves. I'm just going to leave that for now. I tend to look at the forecast a week or 2 ahead on the BBC, and if there's anything below 3 or 4, I don't bother. So I'm not too fussed. Not too worried about that. I'll bide my time. This is my biggest Fatsia japonica. I've seen a lot of people with Fatsias, spiderweb, polycarpa, green fingers. The different varieties have not done too well. This one's been fine for me. You can see there a little bit of frost damage to the new shoots, just in there. Not too bad. I mean, these are looking fine. These should give out. I mean, Fatsias grow pretty quick anyway. It should put on another foot or so at least of height. Everything else is looking fine, but just a little bit of frost damage on there. Euphorbia mellifera. only put this in last month and it's survived. It's got new growth from the bottom there. Some people say this is hardy for them. Some people say the Euphorbia mellifera is half hardy and they cut it back. I'll have to wait and see. Looking at my yucca, I think it's a Yucca gloriosa variegata. Not 100% sure. It was labelled as a yucca. You can see there, it's definitely been one of the casualties in my garden. So I've cut back all the leaves. It's definitely, I mean, you can see it's definitely, there's definitely rot there, and the stem feels pretty solid. But luckily, despite all of these dead, rotting growing points, there are signs of life. This looks healthy. Oh, spoke too soon. It doesn't look healthy. Spear pull there, but I can see, if you look, let me zoom in a little bit there. See there, that's a sign of life. So if you've got, I mean, it's a kind of I don't know if you would class it as a cordex or not, but you can see really low on the stem. This here fills me with a little bit of hope that it'll bounce back this year. Yes, I've lost the height, but I haven't lost the plant. It still feels pretty solid. There's another growing point around the back. Maybe this one feels okay, but it's begun to sprout. Yes, we've lost height, like I say, but I'm not too worried about that. It'll come back. Well, let's have a look at my echium. I had 3 echiums. 2 are definitely dead. I've taken them out of the ground. This is the last one. I've just not dug this one up yet. There's a little bit of green on there, but from my experience, it is a goner. That will, in all probability, be taken out. Into the greenhouse. Just had a quick tidy up. I'm not using my mini greenhouse yet, but in the greenhouse we've got a few things. If you've watched my previous videos of my garden tours, you'll know the setup in here. I've got my cacti and succulents on the top bench. Underneath, a few more succulents, and a few things that are going to be going out. Chusquea gigantea, the giant bamboo. I'm going to put this, I think I'm going to replace this Fargesia rougher here and have that in the corner. Dendroceras littoralis, I've just made a video of sowing the seeds. I grow this from seed every year, and thankfully I've got 2.5 plants surviving. The Yucca rostrata will be planted out. Some of the agaves will be going outside. In the corner there, Tetrapanax is looking fine. Got a couple of Tetrapanax, Colocasia pink china. Again, just waiting for those last frosts to finish. So that's the greenhouse. Cardoon's looking okay. I've made a little frame ready for support. What else to show you? Okay, moving around here. This is of my 3 Chamarots humilis European fan palms. This is the only one that hasn't got any spear pull. It looks okay, should survive. The other 2 I'll show you are not looking great. I've got a lot of self-seeded Verbena bonariensis here, all over. I've been starting to cut this back. I will be digging it up and dividing it and spreading it around. It is a voracious self-seeder. Still a few things on there, seeds on there. And then I've got some Rudbeckia that I grew from seed last year. They didn't flower, but I'm hoping this Rudbeckia Goldstrom, I think it is, will flower this year. That's my smallest trachea. Looking fine. No problems in the middle with the spears. Couple more of my younger, smaller fatsias. Again, you can see a little bit of frost damage on the fatsias there. Moving on to Nephophia, red hot pokers. That needs dividing. I'm going to dismantle this wall, take it down, and rebuild that. But while I've got that down, I'm going to get a saw and chop this up because it is a little bit overcrowded at the minute. This is one of my other camera ops. There you go, look. Classic spear pull. Yeah, probably a goner. Another dead Echium. Tetrapanax. I did looked at in a previous video how I wasn't sure whether it would survive or not, but you can see tops come off. It is pretty dead. So fingers crossed it'll resprout from the roots. Spotted laurel. Not doing too bad. A little bit of growth on that there. So slow. But hopefully when it's bigger, I think it's a fantastic filler plant. Biggest trachea, no issues there. A bit more mess to tidy up. Miscanthus gigantus, just today I've noticed the new shoots coming through there. You can see there's the new shoots with the red tips. Another one there, and it is, you know, it's spreading outwards. When I first bought it a year and a half ago, it was only this section here was the root ball. It's spreading out, so hopefully I can divide that next year. Similar story with the Arundodonax. It's under here, under the tulips. See in there, can't see any new growth yet, but there's a solid rhizome or root system under there. Nothing new coming through. This huge Fargesia ruffer probably needs cutting back, digging out and dividing. There's my Paulonia tree. No signs of growth yet. Let's move this euphorbia out of the way, but there's nothing to suggest that it's sprouting again. Oh, that one's definitely dead, but this, hopefully it'll sprout from this woody stem. I cut that back away. Still need to tidy up the decking. I don't want to put a roof on that at some point. Let's have a look at this bed. This is the sunniest bed. There are my bananas, Mustabastu. Still feeling pretty solid. Yeah, biggest stem, no problems. Smallest stem, not so much, but solid there. It was, maybe it's lost a foot of height on that one. I've seen a few people who've uncovered their banana plants already. I'm not going to yet. I'm going to leave mine. I don't want to risk late frosts. Euphorbia schillingi. Maybe a rarer euphorbia. I've not seen many people grow this, but if you can get a hold of this, I bought this one from Desert to Jungle about 3 years ago. This has been fantastic. It's, you know, it dies back in winter, but it gets a good 5 foot tall in a season. It's already coming through. There's another Chamarops, Humilis, more spear pull. There's a side shoot though, so maybe we're okay there. I'll leave that. And again, most things I'm going to just leave and see what happens. Persicaria red dragon coming back through there. This is the cordyline that had a little bit of spear pull. Looks okay for now, but obviously growing point's dead, but we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. See lots of remains of Echium there, dead Echium leaves, and a few of the Rudbeckia seed heads. I've got a passiflora, passion fruit here. Lupins, I cut them back hard in autumn and they're coming back well now. This is my kids' raised bed. Huge Formium. Flower stalks that are staying until I've got some new ones. There's my double trunk trachea, which I'm going to move that soon. Yeah, my double trunk trachea is looking okay, but I am going to move this. Here's an interesting one. This is giant scabious. I grew this from seed. I saw this on Gardener's World, I think 2021. Oh, look at that caterpillar there. Yeah, this should be huge this year. It didn't flower last year in its first year that I sowed it. I'm hoping it's going to be a huge, tall, late summer, autumn flowering perennial in the garden. I'm going to move this again because this is going to be my desert arid bed. Let me show you the paths. So I would love to get rid of the grass. I mean, for me, the whole of the lawn can go. And I think I've said it a few times on previous videos that while my kids are both young, I think it's important to have a little bit of lawn somewhere for them to play. But eventually the plan will be to have a nice circular bed here. I'm going to have a path coming up from the patio around here, over the bridge, back around again, just as much planting in the front as possible. I mean, I think one garden that really did inspire me was Great Dixter, that I've not been to yet, but you know, that kind of, when you feel enveloped with foliage, that's the whole idea for me. I want to stand here and I want the foliage to be really close and not be able to see anything at the back, but it's a work in progress. Everything is on a budget. I'm trying to do everything as cheap as possible. Yeah, so I've started to lay out a few flags to see what it would be like, how to set up a curved path. I'm not a big fan of straight lines in a garden. And then another job I need to do, which I've just been reminded of, is I do need to repoint the waterfall water feature because it was leaking. So I've scraped all this out, but in summer should be a lovely little waterfall water feature. That's a little foxglove seedling. So there's a garden in March. Yes, it's been a tough winter for us exotic and tropical garden people, but things are looking up, nice and warm. Forecast looks good, so fingers crossed this is the true start of spring. I'd love to know in the comments what looks good and what doesn't in your garden, what you're looking forward to growing this year. Any casualties, anything that was surprisingly hardy. But from the Great Northern Exotic Garden, it's goodbye.